Welcome to Rise from the Ashes. My name is Shauna Farragon. Today I'm going to be talking about forgiveness because forgiveness is a major point in my life that has helped me get to where I am today. With forgiveness, for me, it is like love. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, you can't love someone until you love yourself. You can't accept love from another until you love yourself. Forgiveness is that same way for me. If you cannot forgive yourself, how are you supposed to offer forgiveness to others? And if you can't forgive yourself, how are you supposed to accept forgiveness from others? There isn't really room to do that. Along with the fact that forgiveness is like loving others and loving yourself, I also believe that forgiveness of yourself leads to liking yourself. Once you like yourself, then you can move into loving yourself. And once you love yourself, you can move into trusting yourself. At that point, then you're able to find a way to forgive others, which then leads to liking others, allowing yourself to like other people, which leads to allowing yourself to love other people. And the end of this, or the next step, is learning how to trust other people. For some, this may seem like an impossibility. It's not. You can get there. But it starts with forgiving yourself. For me, forgiving myself was made easier through finding times in my past when I was offered true forgiveness from other people. I'm going to start with my father. He was amazing. I honestly would not know what forgiveness was or how to be a good parent if it wasn't for him. He showed me that even though he was disappointed in the actions I was taking and the choices I was making, even with all of that disappointment, he still was able to forgive me through it all. It wasn't once I got out of the choices I was making, okay, now I'm going to forgive you for that. No, it was during the time that I was out there making the choices I was making, taking the actions I was taking. He forgave me through all of the times. It wasn't required of him, but I was blessed to have him there showing me that he did still love me and he forgave me for the choices I was making. Another person in my past who showed me forgiveness was a teacher I had in high school. I had made some bad decisions and I had to let her know what had happened. I thought for sure she was going to hate me. She was never going to want to see me again. She wasn't going to want me in any of her classes anymore. But that's not what happened. She was disappointed, but she forgave me. She didn't have to forgive me, but she did. She was still one of my favorite teachers through high school, and that lasted through the end of my senior year. Now, I've told you that I was making choices and that I was taking actions that I shouldn't have, that made other people disappointed in me through finding out what I was doing in my life. I had gotten into drugs, and I was very much abusing drugs. That being said, I am a recovering addict. And while I did learn how to find forgiveness through my recovery, I believe that forgiveness is for everyone. It's not just for the recovering addicts. It's not just for the addicts. It's not just for the people who have been affected by drug addicts or recovering addicts. It is for those people who just are unhappy and don't understand why they're unhappy. They don't understand why they feel stuck. Chances are there's some forgiveness that needs to be found. With that, forgiveness in my opinion, leads to a strong foundation. It leads to a strong foundation for your life, for your business or work. If you own your own business, forgiveness is necessary to build that strong foundation to build your business on. That being said, if you don't own your own business, forgiveness helps build that foundation so that you can have relationships at work that aren't turning into anger and rage. You're able to converse with other people, and when they do something that hurts you, you don't get upset or feel like the entire world is weighing on your shoulders. You're able to forgive it. Forgive the action that was taken, whether it was known or not known. It also helps all of the other relationships in your life, your family, your friends, your lovers. It also helps when you're dealing with those people that you don't like in your life. There may be people that frustrate you and you never want to be around them because of how much they bring up frustration inside of you and how angry you feel whenever you're around them. If you're able to forgive, you find a way to find peace while you're around those people. You find peace whenever you're dealing with those people. Now, when you experience forgiveness in your life, you are choosing to let go. A lot of people feel like when you're choosing to forgive someone, you're choosing to tell them that you forgive them. That's not always the case. Quite often, when you're choosing to forgive someone, it's better to forgive them on your end without bringing it up to them. Because if you go up to someone and you say, I forgive you for saying good morning this morning. Now, that's not normally a thing that you would need to forgive someone for, but let's say you're having a very bad morning, and when someone said it was a good morning, it may have brought up that feeling of frustration. So when you get to the root of that, you may want to go forgive them for that. But that's just going to cause unneeded harm on the other person. So when you're choosing to forgive, it doesn't mean that you're saying that the other person was right. It doesn't mean that you're saying that you were right in the place that you were at or the choice that you made. It doesn't mean that you were wrong either. So just because you're not saying that they're right doesn't mean that you're saying that you're wrong by forgiving someone or yourself. It means that you are choosing not to hold on to that. You're choosing not to hold on to that anger or rage that you might feel, that frustration. You're choosing not to hang on to that resentment that you might be feeling. You're choosing not to hold on to that awkwardness that might arise whenever you're in the same room with that person. And you're choosing to let go of that fear that you might feel when you're around that person or when you think about that person. Living your life in fear and anger and resentment, it brings on things that it turns into physical ailments. There have been lots of cases where cancer can come on from unforgiveness that people are holding on to. It can also bring on depression and anxiety, especially those fears. If your unforgiveness leads to fear, it brings on those anxieties where you have a hard time being around anyone else because you're so anxious. That being said, I also wanted to share with you one more example of forgiveness that I was given in my time of recovery that really helped show me what forgiveness is. I was in drug court and I had a judge who was over the program. This judge has forever changed my life. I went in knowing that I had missed an appointment. It was for a drug test. I knew I was going to come up clean. I missed it because I spaced it completely. And I knew I was going to be in trouble, but I didn't know how much trouble I was going to be in. So I went into the courtroom for my court date, and I was talking to the judge, and she told me that I was going to have to go to jail for 30 days. There was no bail being offered. I was getting locked up for 30 days. I pleaded with her not to send me to jail. I was pregnant and I knew I could not eat the food that was in the jail. She knew that to teach me, she had to send me to jail. So she had said that I was going to jail for 30 days. At the courthouse, they have a room with a cell in it where they take the people who are gonna have to be transported to jail. So I got into that room and I'm in that cell and I'm just praying that this baby will live through this 30-day sentence, that nothing bad will happen. I get to the jail hours later and I finally get to where I get to use a phone, and I called my dad. I let him know that I was sentenced to 30 days jail time. And when he wanted to do everything to protect me from this, he wanted to save me from this sentence, I told him there was nothing he could do. But I needed him to do what he could do, which was pray. Pray that this baby stayed alive through this time. Not everyone's been to jail, so not everyone understands what it is to go through being booked into a jail, but there's an entire process where you're giving your fingerprints and you're sitting in a holding area where it's this like open area with benches and you're sitting there with all these other people, and there are phones that you can use, but you can only use them if someone else isn't using them. And so when you get taken out of their pits so that the guards can see you at all times and make sure you're not doing anything you shouldn't be doing. And so when they take you out of that pit, they take you down a hallway through a door where there's pretrial, or at least in this jail they did. I go into the pretrial area and I'm walking down, listening to my footsteps echoing in the corridor. And I sit down in front of the desk where I'm supposed to sit, across from a lady who's doing the pretrial for me. And she's asking me questions and I'm giving her answers, and I'm shaking from head to toe because I am terrified of being locked up in jail while I'm pregnant with this baby. I did not want to lose this baby. As I'm talking to her and she's giving me information around what the judge said and why I'm being booked in. And then she lets me know. Or she doesn't let me know, she says, so this is just a book and release. Now, for those of you who don't know what a book and release is, it means that you're being booked into jail and then they release you. You're not actually going to spend any time in the jail. You're going to go home. I had to ask her to repeat herself because I'm supposed to be here for 30 days, not a book and release. She let me know it's a book and release. As I question her again, she says, this is what your judge said. Do you want me to ask her if she made a mistake? And I said, no, I'll take it. I then got to go out of the pretrial area. You don't get released right away. You go down into the other pit. And there was a phone, and so I got to call my father and tell him, I'm being released. Can you come pick me up? The fact that he was not able to do anything for me but pray, and then he was able to come pick me up. I could hear the excitement in his voice. And I promise you, I did not make any more mistakes. I did not miss any more appointments when it came to my court time. I made sure that I was going to all of my appointments. I made sure that I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. But that judge showed me true forgiveness. I had made a mistake. I did something that I should have been in jail for. And she decided to release me. She did not actually put me in jail for the time that I should have been in jail. She decided that I deserved forgiveness for making that mistake and let me be released. While for me it was easier to find forgiveness by looking at past experiences where I've experienced forgiveness in my life, that doesn't mean that's the only way. You can find forgiveness for yourself, and forgiveness for others, even if you've never experienced forgiveness before. Now I'm going to offer you guys an opportunity. It is October 5th, 2020 today, and I am hosting a retreat this November from the 12th through the 15th because I want everyone to be able to experience forgiveness in their lives and to be able to start building the foundation, the strong foundation that your life needs. I'm inviting you all to join me. If you're listening to this or you're watching this and you would like more information, please reach out to me. I would love to share with you the details of what is going to be happening at this retreat. I am so excited for this retreat because I truly believe it's going to be a life-transforming event for everyone who is involved. We will be having, among teachings, there's also going to be a healing drum circle that is going to happen, and everyone will be taking home their own drum that they make through the healing drum circle process. There's also going to be foot zoning and detox baths available so that you can experience healing in more than in physical ways, as well as the spiritual ways and the mental ways. Living with unforgiveness can cause spiritual disconnects. If you have not forgiven yourself, how are you supposed to believe that anyone or anything would forgive you? I want everyone to be able to connect spiritually. This is major for me because this is what makes me who I am. There are going to be other topics discussed at this retreat. I'm super excited. And I hope that everyone that even has the smallest hint of, I would like to go to that retreat, or even, I'd like to know more. I am hoping that you will reach out to me and ask me for more information. I will gladly send it to you. While I am not available 24 hours a day to answer your messages, I do try to answer them as soon as I can. So as I said, I'm just hoping that everyone will reach out to me that has any desire to know more about this retreat. And that is it for today. I am planning on having new entries up, or new videos, new podcasts, depending on how you're experiencing this will vary with how you get the next information. But I am planning on doing this weekly, so if you would like to hear from me again, tune in again next week, and I will be sharing more information on another topic and or whatever topic that I feel is needing to be shared on that day. So every Monday, I plan on coming on here and creating a video for YouTube as well as the audio for the podcast, and I will be creating blog entries at the same time. I hope to see you guys. I hope to see messages from everyone, And if you don't message, I hope to see you again next week so that you can learn some more information about how to create the life of your dreams.